Okay, so the reason that we created this program is because we had a lot of classes going on, but no real space to fit in beginners classes, or no way to introduce beginners in an effective way. Like we couldn't separate out a specific beginners class. So we came up with the idea of running like a 4-week program to not necessarily show people how to do jiu-jitsu or even really teach a massive amount of techniques, but more to like help them get to the point they understand what is jiu-jitsu, and they've started to develop really good habits. Okay, and that's the most important thing. We wanted to get them to a point that they could then learn jiu-jitsu. Okay, and it actually worked very, very well. We did it we've run it a few times. The first time we did it, we were very unsure about how it was going to work, if it was going to work, and we put a lot of things in and tried a few things out. And it was amazing. We took guys who had no experience, and within 4 weeks of literally doing like, I don't know what, 6 hours?
Minutes.
Yeah,
90 minutes.
4 90-minute sessions. Yeah. They looked like they understood what jiu-jitsu was. They understood how to...
We'll include some clips of them sparring in the last session.
Yeah, so they understood like what they were trying to do, how they were trying to progress. And it was amazing. Like it was really, really amazing like to watch them go from like zero skill to a point of at least having some idea of what jiu-jitsu was and what their goals were. And that's incredible. If you've ever taught beginners, you know how difficult it can be to get people to that level. So the other beautiful thing about that from a business perspective is we limited it to 8 people. We had 8 people join the course. And then from there, 7 of them transferred over to being full members. And the only reason that one dropped out is because he injured his wrist in just a random weird accident. We're not even entirely sure how he managed it, but he did. We'll hopefully get him back into training at some point as well. But so yeah, we had like 8 people start, and then 7 of them transferred over, which is pretty incredible. Coming in from that kind of program, and they're still training with us today as well, which is nice. And then we went on, we might have thought this was like a little bit of a fluke, so we went on and did another course, and we achieved exactly the same results pretty much.
Yeah, so the first course we had, due to kind of the situation at the time, we had a lot of people coming in off of lockdown, like really interested in training, so some of the people that we got in that first round were very athletic, like predisposed to, liking jiu-jitsu-like sports, rugby players, boxers, those kinds of people. So we ran them through, and we figured this might have been a fluke. So let's bring the second group in. We got our second group in, way less athletic.
Yeah, so in the first group we had like, an ex-military guy who played a lot of rugby. We had a guy who was like a PT. We had a guy called Luke who was just a dad.
Yeah, but still quite athletic for just being a dad. Yeah. I think he probably played football on the weekends or something. Yeah. Like people who were already doing stuff.
Right? Yeah, and then the second group was like the complete opposite. Yeah. We had a
lot of traditional martial artists. We
had a couple of those. We had guys we had a boxer in there, so he had but he was like quite old. He was like in his late 50s. We had a guy who had, honestly, if you imagine a beginner, he would be the archetypal beginner. No coordination, zero fitness level.
We had a guy who just got into it because he wanted his son to do it.
Yeah.
And people who just, you see them in beginners classes and they take a long time to get to the point where they're functional.
So, and you know what, we achieved exactly the same results again. They looked, by the end of the course, they looked like they...
like they had been training probably 6 months.
Yeah, they had an idea of what to do. And it was incredible. So that's why we create this program. We've obviously, we've refined it a little bit, and we want to share it with you because it can be very, very valuable to your school as a way to get people involved in jiu-jitsu that doesn't impact your current schedule and gets them to a point they can start learning very, very quickly.
And with the context of the current situation in 2020/early 2021, we had to keep our numbers down of the students in the classes, so our regular students are filling our other classes, so we don't have the space to bring in new people to those classes either, which was part of the issue that we were having. Like, it takes a lot of time to go face to face with somebody and explain, tying the belt, putting the gi on, like where the changing rooms are, where the bathroom is, like all those things, they seem inconsequential, but they take so much time out of a class. And if you're like us, we had to shorten down our classes already to fit enough people in, and it was just a logistical nightmare to try and bring a new person in off the street. Like somebody who has trained before was enough of a problem, but bringing in somebody brand new was just a logistical nightmare that we could not work around with the schedule the way it was. So we had to do something else. and this is what we ended up developing.
Yeah.